Welcome back, race fans, to another episode of Buckle Up, an ultra running conversation. Mandy, welcome back. Happy New Year.
Happy 2026, Brian. How are you doing today?
I am in a little bit of a rat race. I was actually about 17 minutes late to this meeting. So, if that tells you anything, that is kind of how my new year has been going since I've returned home.
I feel you. Actually, I had a schedule today because apparently, when you take a week off to go play with ultra runners and run in circles and live in a parking lot for 6 days and ignore your email and your phone, life hits real hard when you get back to reality. But happy to be here. But I feel you.
Ellie didn't take care of all those emails for you? What's going on?
She took care of most of them, but my inbox was pretty full. How was yours?
Um, I, I'm going to come clean. I actually take care of my inbox while I'm on the road.
So I
So,
normally do. Like we have a Starlink. I know you do too. And I'm normally pretty good about doing that, but that race was just so crazy that I think I got on and did payroll one day. That was like the most urgent thing, but I don't know, it kind of felt nice to unplug though and just focus on running and my family and spending quality time with friends and got to hang out with you. So yeah, it was a good week. Good week to unplug. Now
So we are on January 6th. This episode will come out a few days after January 6th. But what Mandy and I are referring to is across the years. There was a bunch of events. It starts 3 days before the new year and ends 3 days after the new year. So some people can do 6 days of running around a 1.4 mile loop, and some people did. And kudos to them. There is also a 72-hour race, I want to say. There's also a 48 hour, a 24 hour. I think there's a 6 hour. I think that's right. And then I think there's distances too. I think there's 100K. There was a marathon, 100K, 100 mile, 200 mile. I don't know if there was a 300 mile, but there was also a last person standing formatted race that started on New Year's Eve at noon and lasted for just slightly over 48 hours, right? So that was kind of exciting. Your husband, Nick, was there participating in that particular event, the last person standing.
it was a great race. I mean, that whole thing was such a nail biter. I got lucky enough to witness it firsthand. I was in the crew tent with him the whole time. Took a couple of little baby naps. I call them dirt naps, but they weren't in the dirt. They were in the like
Mm-hmm.
it was more like a torture chamber because you're in like the bright light of that white tent and the music's just like wah 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 the whole time, so you actually can't really sleep. But no, it was a great race. Nick did really well. He last year he took second at this race, completing 36 hours, 153 miles. And funny enough, this year he completed the exact same distance. He fell out of the race, timed out on that same lap at the midnight
Mm.
hour, second night in. So at 36 hours, 53 miles. He kind of talked about like, is there some muscle memory? Is the body just like, oh yeah, and this is as far we go as we go at this race? Is there a little bit of a mental thing? But he just quite simply said, like, I laid it all out there. He just literally could not make his legs turn over any faster at that point. But super proud of him. It was awesome. All of the athletes did so well. He was in that final five with Maya Detmer and Stephanie Rosenbach, who we'll have on the show later on, Ben and Mike. So it was a good time. And yeah, those last two, Mike and Ben, came through and finished up the race at noon the next day. So yeah, 48 hours of just yeah, pain and like mental just keep going every 20 minutes, listening to that countdown every 20 minutes just has to wear on these athletes. So grateful to have been
Yeah,
there.
it was a little bit of a different format. It was one lap every 20 minutes, and the lap was 1.4 once again. So slightly more than the 4.17 that they typically run every hour, and a little bit quicker. So less rest time, broken down into 3, 4 minutes at a time, at sometimes at most 3 to 4 minutes rest time between laps. But yeah, it was a super fun event. I was there. Mandy already explained her role there. I was there volunteering. I was running off campus. I was running outside of the confines of the event itself, getting some extra miles in and volunteering for a bunch of shifts. I did 2 overnights and 1 afternoon to round out my weekend. The analogy of that I heard while I was at the aid station is two people who had been running for 5 days at that point came in and they said, it feels like we're in the prison courtyard, and they said all we've seen is this fence line, and just keep running this fence. And they said, well, we don't know what you guys are, the volunteers, being us, the volunteers, and they didn't know if we were the guards. And I said, no, no, we are exemplary inmates as well. So we are allowed to play with the knives. We were one level above the running, the need to run. So we were able to play with the knives. We were in there for good behavior. We were in the kitchen for good behavior. So kind of
Yeah,
funny to
that's a good
think of that.
analogy. I feel that same way. At one point, my kid was like, so my kids ran and I ran too. We ran on Monday, days before Nick started his race, a couple days before. And at one point, Alex was like, I didn't know where to find you. And this was in the middle of Nick's race. And I was like, oh my gosh, literally, I've been right here for, this is like 24 hours into his race. I'm like, I have barely left the confines of this white tent. And I'm so excited to get out of here. But I like that, the inmates. Yeah. So what was your highlight, Brian, outside of talking about a prison scenario and feeling trapped? Highlight moment?
I always enjoy the aid stations. Aravipa, the race company, the race organizer of across the years, always does a great job. This is like their bread and butter. It's like the single aid station, but it's got everything. I mean, it's got the front tent, the front room has all the food, and the athletes come through like a buffet type of line and could come in one door and out the other. But behind that, the back behind that tent is a full kitchen. I mean, they have ovens and burners. I mean, like 13, 14, 15 burners at any given point could be going. So we're able to cook a lot of food. And there's a lot of variety added as well, because if you were out there for 6 days or even the 48 hours, like these last person standing athletes were, they're basically eating meals like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the overnight snack. And so you're kind of trying to entice their taste buds. So there was like a change of meals every 3 hours. We would wipe all the food off the table and put new hot food out, trying different varieties of things, and just trying to mix it up and get creative with what's there in the kitchen. So pretty cool to just be a part of that. So that was fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good food. We
And
didn't spend a lot
yourself?
of time there. Honestly, I think it's just like what we always say, it's just soaking in the community. I ran for almost 45 miles on that first day, slept a little bit Monday night, got up and ran a few more miles Tuesday morning. I'd say running in a 1.4 mile concrete confined prison loop isn't really my forte, but I really enjoyed seeing old friends, meeting new friends, just hearing stories. Ann Trayson was there, as we've seen. I got to watch her pep talk my 11-year-old. So that was really fun. I think it's just this year, this race really kind of bridges over this sport. Really does bring together all runners of all shapes, all sizes, all demographics. It really makes it accessible to everybody. So it's just fun to hang out with everyone. And then I think, of course, watching Nick truly put it all out there, as well as the other athletes, and just watching firsthand that pain and that effort that it takes to just literally keep one foot in front of the other. It's super motivating. So, anyone that wants to go, I am sure we will be back next year, and we would love to have more friends there with us.
But I brought up Ellie. Ellie didn't clean your email inbox out,
She's
but
fired.
Ellie is your coworker. You guys work together for Run.Windsor, your branded company, and she's our guest this week. We do have to come clean and let you know that we recorded this. Gosh, I think it might have been Thanksgiving, if I'm being honest. I can't recall, but it's been a while. It's on the back burner, but we need to put this episode out. So here's our intro to it, and tell us a little bit more about Ellie, would you, Mandy?
Yeah, so Ellie is my full-time employee. Like Aravipa, we put on a lot of races. It takes a lot of people to put these on, but a lot of times when you look at these race organizations, they're not really made up with that many full-time employees. Aravipa being a little different, they've got more of a robust full-time staff now, but they also have a handful of independent contractors that do project work for them. So I'm pretty similar. Ellie is my only full-time employee, and then we have a handful of independent contractors that help with pulling permits, social media, race day operations, course marking cleanup, that kind of thing. But Ellie is my first true full-time employee that's been on with me since April, and it's kind of fun. You'll hear in the episode, she is not going to come at this from I'm an ultra runner and that's why I'm here, because I love really long distances. She definitely has an appreciation and a love for the sport, and overall, like what it takes to work in this industry and to be a participant in this industry, as we all know, is a little grit, little strength, not afraid to get your hands dirty and work hard, think outside the box, and you got to really dig deep and find your reason why. And she's just been such a blessing to my organization and a blessing to our runners, and we have a ton of fun together. But we find a lot of commonalities between history that she has in how she grew up, how she was raised, what kind of sport her family enjoyed on the weekends, and how we find those correlations to what we do as race directors.
Yeah, Ellie and I kind of interact a little bit on the side here in just some little small projects like social media stuff and stuff that she's looking for the website and stuff like that. So it's always been great. She's always been engaging, but I think she's a little bit like ultra curious, right? So I think we might see her out there someday, but we never know. You never know, right? I mean, there's no pushing it on anybody. We can't make them do it, but I think she's ultra curious. So. Here's the episode with Ellie Martinez, and we hope you guys enjoy it. We do have some things in the works for the remainder of January and going into February. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Hi, Ellie. Welcome to the show. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you?
It is a busy week. Kids are out of school. There's a lot going on, but I'm well. Thanks for asking. I am training well and getting my runs in. So,
Good.
let's talk a little bit about you, though. You have this really cool, awesome position with Run.Windsor, Colorado. And what does that look like? What does that look like on a regular, like day-to-day basis type of thing? Like, what are your duties with Run.Windsor? Like, how does that work?
Well, I get asked this a lot because people tend to not know what the heck I'm doing all the time. But I would say, I don't even know. There's a really large scope of things, basically anything that is not important enough for Mandy to handle, but still needs to get done urgently is probably something that I'm doing. Anything between sending emails, fixing the website, designing shirts for the races.
That's a big one.
Moving porta potties is my favorite one, actually. That one happens more than you'd think. Kind of a little bit of everything.
We should change the name of that to like sloshing blue juice or like something blue juice related. There's like some sort of play there, but I don't know what it is just yet.
On this week's episode of Sloshing Blue Juice.
Yes. Should have put it in the like job requirements. Like, what's your experience with sloshing blue juice, and is it used or unused? Only race directors would understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not sure if you could put it on a resume or if you'd want to, but you never know. It might come in handy someday.
Who knows? Maybe in my future life, I need to be doing that full time. Moving porta potties.
Yeah.
It's character building.
It is probably character building in general, right? Let's back up though. I think I spilled the beans already, but you work for Run.Windsor, working with Mandy there and putting on, I think, a dozen races a year, if I'm not mistaken. Is that a good number? Cool. But how did you wind up here? Like, how did you wind up there in the bee shed?
I got it right.
From whatever you were doing. Did I say it right? Did I got it right?
Yeah.
I'm nailing it on Monday afternoon.
My story finding Mandy is actually kind of funny. Her sister babysat my current roommates. And they kind of directed me to her, thinking that I would love working with her and thought we would get along really well, which was spot on.
We work so close together, literally
shoulder to shoulder.
You gotta give me the string. Who introduced you?
My roommate's mom, technically. My roommates were babysat by Mandy's sister. And Mandy.
Okay.
And by me. So I know that I look as young as Ellie, but there's a lot of years of age between us. So I actually helped to babysit her roommate. So I'm dating myself there a little bit.
Okay.
And in Northern Colorado, so in Fort Collins, yeah, so I'll tell Ellie where she grew up and everything. I had her roommate's mom reached out to me and said, hey, one of the girls' friends is looking for a job. I think she'd be really great to work with you. She's a runner, and I think you guys would get along really well. You should interview her. And yeah.
And that was almost a year ago, actually, because my first race was Turkey Trot, and that is this
Oh,
week.
man, you went full circle. So you've done 12 races. I mean,
Yep.
established and put on 12 races.
Yeah.
Yes. Not as much the first couple. I was just doing a little bit here and there, but
now she's all in.
Now I'm in.
All right. Mandy said that the babysitter, whoever this person was, whoever introduced you, said that you were a runner. So, like, what's your history with sport is where I was going with it. I think I saw some of it on Instagram. I think maybe you played some lacrosse quite a bit and stuff like that. But what about generally, like, your history with sport and where are you at in the running world currently?
Yeah. So, well, currently, I actually just ran a really big ultra. It was a 5K. That was really fun.
5K ultras.
Ultra fun.
Wait, is that the timed one where you had to guess or predict your time?
Yes, it was. You had to predict your time in your registration. Then instead of doing actual winners like first, second, third, fastest time, it was whoever got closest to their time that they guessed. We didn't win.
Yeah, how far off was your time?
I think I was like almost a minute and a half off the time I thought I was. So I was like over 100th
better
place.
or
better. I actually ran faster than I thought I was going to.
Okay.
So
that's in the positive, I guess. And Mandy, you were 40 seconds off, I thought you told me?
I think so. I think 40 seconds off.
Yeah, something like that.
They said. Right. So Mandy won that competition this week.
I won the competition.
She won that one.
And I also ran faster than I thought I was going to run.
Oh, okay. So in the positive, yeah.
It was in the positive. I didn't know, though, really what I'd done because to talk about what Ellie does, she does a lot of my personal stuff, too. So she actually registered me for this 5K. So I'm like, Ellie, what'd you put down for my time? So she knew what I was predicting to run, and I had no idea.
Like doing the math for the time that I was like, her mile pace, and I was like, it's 5K. I don't even know what I put down, but she got close.
All right. She got closer than you did, apparently. But I don't know if that's a bad thing. I guess if you're a minute and a half under your predicted pace for yourself, Ellie, then that's a good thing, right? You're a little more fit than you thought you were.
Yeah, I guess so. A little bit of racing.
What about history with sport, though? Where are you at with that? What did you do in the past?
I grew up basically playing every sport possible. I think I dabbled in a little bit of everything in middle school. I did do cross country in middle school. That was definitely pushed upon me a little bit more by my dad. He was a big runner. He ran a little bit in college. So that's kind of where my passion for running came from, I guess. But inevitably, that was just not the sport for me. I went to high school and I played basketball for a little and lacrosse. I started lacrosse in like 4th grade. Finally dropped off all the other sports and decided that lacrosse was the one for me. And then I went and played in college at a little D2 called Fort Lewis in Durango, Colorado. Yeah, so I've just always been involved in sports. I've always loved sports. My whole family always has been involved in sports. So being back in kind of a sporting community is so much fun.
And you grew up there in northern Colorado?
Yes, I grew up in Fort Collins, just actually north of Fort Collins. My family still lives there, but technically in a town called, it's like in between LaPorte and Livermore, if anyone is aware of where that is.
Not a big tourist.
Is Red Feather in one of those spots too? Is Red Feather there too?
It's not as far as Red Feather.
That farther. Red Feather's farther. Okay.
Yeah.
I am vaguely familiar, apparently, but cool. Yeah. I don't understand lacrosse. I coach high school track, and they play on the field while we're running on the track. So I'm also like trying to protect the kids from getting swatted in the head with the ball, the lacrosse ball.
And it would hurt.
But I'm also like trying to watch the game and like figure it out. And I mean, it looks like I understand that like you put the ball into the net and get a point. I get that concept. But like as far as penalties go, and then rules, and then like the whole swatting of the stick thing, I'm like, man, what is going on here? I can't figure it out. But anyway,
it's definitely different. I feel like it's a mixture of so many different sports. Most similarly, it's close to like hockey and field hockey, but then there's a lot of different sports that have little tiny factors in that you wouldn't really notice unless you actually knew the rules. But it's like the defense is very similar to basketball. The field positioning is kind of similar to soccer. It's really cool. It really just takes little pieces of everything. The hitting is definitely aggressive, but that's also a little bit different between men's and women's lacrosse. The rules vary quite a bit, actually. It takes more of your brain to play girls lacrosse and a little bit more like macho man energy to play boys lacrosse.
I've never watched it,
Cool.
but you
I didn't know that.
lost me. Like, I'm not interested at all in that sport. That
It's
sounds
really
terrible.
odd. I had a professor in college who would be like, "Oh, are you going to catch butterflies today? Because it looks like
Because you
a
got
little
your
butterfly
stick with
net
your
on the
net.
end of
Yeah.
a stick."
And then did you like body check him? You're
I'm
like,
like-
let me show you what that looks like.
Yeah.
Bam.
Did you swat him with a stick? Like that's what you should have done with your butterfly stick. Is what I'm trying to say.
My little butterfly catching net.
What position did you play at school at college at Fort Lewis? What position did you play on the lacrosse team?
I played midfield, so
Okay.
again, lots of running. So I think that's another thing that I've just always liked running, and a lot of people don't really like running, so they kind of put me there midfield so I could do scoring and then also play defense, which was a ton of fun.
Sure,
why
but
would you want
it's similar. I mean, the game is completely different, but the running is similar to soccer-esque type of running, right? Super hard sprints, efforts, and powerful movements, and then standing around for 30 seconds before you do it again, right?
Yeah, basically so. A few
Oh,
full
yeah,
field
yeah.
sprints.
Yeah. So then when did
Cool.
you run it? When did you run your first competitive race? So you ran in school, like everyone does. Like we're all forced maybe to run track, cross country. But when did you choose to start running as an adult?
I've always kind of done it. Like even when I was playing sports, I would go on runs by myself. I never really had that much of a desire to do it competitively just because I felt like I would lose the love for it. I had my competitive side. I used it during like other sports, but I never felt the need to sign up and lose the love that I'd have for just like going on a casual run. Honestly, the most competitive ones I've done are 5Ks, which is not even competitive. It's been just for fun. And then I did do a half marathon last year, but that's kind of the extent of it.
So a 5K ultra.
Oh, yes. Lots of ultra fun 5Ks.
And baby runs. Ellie goes on a lot of baby runs.
I love baby runs.
Explain a baby run. Explain this baby run.
So baby run for me, when I'm talking to people like Mandy who run a lot, is like 2 or 3 miles. When I talk to my friends who don't run, that's an ultra.
Somewhere in between the two.
Yes. So I did actually do an ultra because all my other friends were still sleeping and I was running marathons.
I think I turned Mandy onto Bad Ultra Running Advice, the Facebook group. Is that correct, Mandy? I think so.
Yeah.
And then, but they talk about 5K ultras a lot in there, and we talk about pooping on rocks a lot. But that's a great segue into like, well, I guess I'll back up a second. Like you enjoy running at a recreational level, right? Compared to your ultra counterpart sitting next to you.
Yes.
But now you're doing 12 ultras a year or 12 races a year, some of them being ultra, some of them being from anywhere from 5K to ultra. Like, are you still enjoying running in the process, or do you think there's like a burnout coming up with that, like with just being in the community?
No, I think honestly it's made me want to run more. Being around people that are motivated to do so makes me way more motivated. It's a ton of fun. It makes me want to run, not necessarily further distances, but just almost be more involved in running and like personally, and not, instead of working them, actually running them. And I've learned so much from all of our races. We like the relay races that we do, the longest distances that we put on were foreign to me. I mean, it was like me learning Italian out of nowhere. I don't know. Something that I would never even think in my own head would be possible.
Yeah, I wonder. So like you mentioned being motivated and inspired. So it's been a year of us putting on, and like Brian said, we do put on races that are 5K to marathon, half marathon, and then 5 of our events this year, I believe, have that ultra distance, which is more than a marathon traditionally. So in the last year, like have there been a moment or two that have inspired you that you've seen or been a part of, where you've been inspired, like either want to do this myself and do more of it, or just be more involved in the community?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially with the relays, that those seem more doable for me just because it's split up. Those ones every time I work them, I was like, this sounds so fun. Anytime that Mandy would go and work like the Hard Rock 100 and things like that, it's really awesome to see. And like the Leadville 100 and how many times you've run it, both of you. It's just something that I think would be so cool to do. But not that I would care about any kind of accolade or anything like that, but even just telling like my friends and family, that you accomplish something like that is so incredibly cool. So I would try. I don't know. I'm on the fence still about how far I would actually go.
Yeah, and just, we didn't bring you on today to try to push you into that box. So don't be afraid. We're not like going to sign you up for an ultra at the end of this. So we're just kind of curious.
Surprise, start training.
You're signed up.
But I got your email address now, so I could just register you for races. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Okay, perfect. Coach Brian.
We know some race directors. We could even get comp entries. I bet we could have you in Hard Rock 100 by the end of this call.
Oh my gosh.
So
Dale would be like, no.
I used to manage a swimming pool here in Western Colorado, one of the largest hot springs pools in the world. I taught the lifeguards how to be lifeguards, and that was just a job I did for a long time. I love swimming. Another passion of mine is swimming, and I enjoy swimming. But I can't go to, now I'm done and out of that world, and now I do other things in my life. But I can't go to a swimming pool without critiquing the lifeguards. So here's my question to you is, do you think you could go across town to Fort Collins and go run a 10K without critiquing the whole event as a whole? Do you think you can like live in that space and just enjoy the 10K and get your buckle and your banana? Or are you going to be like, oh man, if I did it, I would be moving this there. I'd be doing this. Can you do that?
Yeah, definitely. I think even at our little free 5K that we did, there were so many things that were like, would I do that? There's so many things that now I'm like almost nitpicking just because I've learned so much about the environment. Whereas before working, I show up to a 5K and it is like that. I'm like, great, I'm going to run. You tell me the route. I'll follow the crowd. I'll be the sheep. I'm just going to be herded through here and make sure that I have a granola bar at the end. It's perfect. But now I feel like being immersed in this kind of environment, I can actually notice like that would make the race a lot better, or that could be fixed. All of those little things. I definitely would be.
Yeah, I think it's a good
nitpick.
I think that's a good point. Like there also, it could be the positive, right? You could say, oh, like that's working way better than the way we've done it in the past. And so maybe you're taking some positives home with you as well. Maybe not just the negatives, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, she's also, it's been fun to watch like people try to like draw her in, like they love the job that she does. Like you said, like she's also taking information from the races and coming up with fun ideas. Yeah, constantly like, ooh, we should do this. We should do this. And so she's there. She's got the mentality. And like, I wonder too, what drew you to this, like how much about like how you were raised and like that grit and that mentality. So many of us talk about what it takes to be an ultra runner. And while again, we're not pushing you to do it, like I think even to work in the space, you have to have that same grit, wanting to get to the finish line, whether it's as an RD or as a runner. And it's been fun to watch her pull that out of her personality and like stories she tells about growing up and how that's relatable to today and not the very hard, sleepless, dirty work that we do. It's quite dirty.
It's dirty.
It's like blue juice dirty, like blue juice.
Blue juice dirty is like next level dirty. Luckily, most of the ones that we've had to move have not been used. So it really is just blue juice.
Well, that's good. That's good. Mandy does have a little bit of a heart.
I mean, I
She won't make it.
I never make her do anything I'm not willing to do myself. That is my number one rule.
Yeah, but if you're willing to slosh blue juice, that's not great for anybody.
I mean, it's necessary though. Like,
somehow it just works out for us though. And we're pulling strings to make this happen. We're pulling out stakes. We're taking a giant porta potty and bunging it to a U-Haul truck, and we're driving 20 miles per hour down a highway. Not saying that ever happened, but it could.
But it could have. It may have.
definitely.
Yeah. But it did.
Our insurance
Who's
doesn't
the
cover
Who's the porta potty company? Is it Honey Bucket? No, or is that?
Portable Restroom Solutions is who we use.
Oh, okay.
We also use Honey Bucket for our race that's down south. And, it's funny.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what it is.
Like when we told him we wanted to move it, and he was like, "No, you can't do that." And we were like, "We don't have a choice, so we will literally be moving the porta potty."
Nobody believes we can do it. I think that makes us want to do it more.
See? Ultra mindset, Brian. See what I'm saying? She's got it.
It's the mindset is there, but it's interesting because I think that you guys are personally like Run.Windsor itself as an umbrella is giving off this bad vibe that all race directing is just moving porta potties.
You're right. Maybe you should cool it with the porta potty moving.
Yeah. So what else do you find yourself doing? Like race week or non-race week? Like summing up like other things outside of
skills
that people wouldn't really know or that you didn't know before you got into the industry. Maybe that like what you weren't expecting after you said, yes, I'll take the job.
Okay. The biggest thing I wasn't expecting is the food. I don't know what you guys are doing on that mountain and how. Well, I did hear from when we were at our trail running conference that one company was actually using donkeys to get their food to their aid stations. And that in itself is crazy. I never would have thought of that. I also didn't even think about how many aid stations you would need. I wouldn't expect all the crazy food that happens. It sounds like pregnancy cravings and everyone is so excited about it. It's so weird. I would never take a pickle juice shot and then sip a Coke and then be super excited to melt my tortilla and throw some meat, maybe sprinkle some chips on top and then call it a day.
The food is surprising. Yeah.
The food surprises me.
And rave about it too, right? Like rave about it. Like it's like you rave about it that it's so good. Like it was so good.
Best food you've ever had, probably because you're about to fall over and die, and that's like feels like the last meal you'll ever eat or something. I don't know.
What about the people? What surprised you about the people?
The people have definitely surprised me. There's so many good parts about all the people. Everyone is very determined and dedicated and has that mindset that you can do hard things. Like Mandy says it all the time, you can do hard things, and it's like engraved in people's brains to keep going and keep telling yourself that you can do it, which is so awesome. I do worry for the mental health of most ultra runners though. I do feel like there's just a little bit of something happening up there to make them want to do it even like continuously over and over again. But I do respect it nonetheless.
She thinks we're all crazy is what she's saying.
Putting it loosely, there's a little bit of mental something blockage.
Yeah, I think there's it's a niche sport still. I mean, it's growing. You know, it's like 300% year over year. It is. It's still new. The concepts are still new. I mean, at 40 years old, it's really not that old, and that's like the original founders. But really, you think of like Born to Run being like written in 2010. That whole era of runners, which I'm included in, is still fairly new to the sport or to this sport, right? So it's not like it's ingrained in like long-standing history or anything like that. So yeah, so it's a bunch of weird people that want to run really far and eat quesadillas on the top of mountains.
Yeah, it's perfect. Honestly, that sounds great, except for the getting up the mountain and then back down and then back up again. But quesadilla on top of a mountain sounds awesome.
Where do you see yourself in maybe the next 5 years in this space of running, maybe even dabbling in a little farther distances? What about like the 3 to 5 year plan? Like where do you think you see yourself? I mean, of course, there's no obligation, but you know, what do you think?
I think about this a lot, actually. I see myself definitely staying involved in anything like this. I definitely want to start putting myself out there more, even if it's just volunteering or just experiencing. I've also never crewed, so doing something like that I feel like would be super fun, just to like get involved without any pressure and just actually seeing exactly what it's like, the nitty gritty of it all. Other than that, I mean, I have so much time to decide if I actually want to do one myself. So if Mandy pushes me hard enough, maybe I will. She's gonna like whisper it in my ear every day in hopes that I do one.
Yeah, the crewing I think would be like a good next step for her, because we are taking care of the masses when we're race directing. So we are a little bit in tune to everyone's mental state, but more from a perspective of what's their experience like. Are they okay? And how's the operation going? But I think as soon as you're really focusing on 1 or 2 athletes and what they're going through, that's where I think, I don't know. And we talked to a lot of people, Ryan, that have that same mentality. As soon as they are crewing someone very intimately and with that person from A to Z, and get to see either the failure or the success in it, I think that's where the real magic comes, because you're a part of that experience that is so life-changing for that person. So I think it'd be fun to have her get out and crew someone, and then you're like, then you're learning how to be a mom because you're taking care of their emotions and maybe changing their underwear and feeding them food.
It is crazy. I didn't even know that crewing existed. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know that you needed a babysitter to make sure you didn't die out in the middle of nowhere. It's for the best, I think, mentally, physically. Same with pacing. I didn't know that was a thing, mostly because I just assumed that anyone who was doing this was in like such crazy shape. They're basically a superhero, could run the whole thing at their very top tier half marathon pace and keep going and never stop. So that was kind of my interpretation of it. And I never thought differently. So the crewing and the pacing, that's all foreign, and it's very cool how much of a community, like family, friends involvement there is. Got to drag them into the trenches with you.
Yeah, there might be even an opportunity come May in 2026, right, Mandy?
Yeah, I mean, if I go, she's going because she has to work. Not that I'm going to be working, but she can like work on the road and crew and pace and be a part of the community. And I think for me too, I think running this organization and building this up, like it's very much about the community for me. And so I want people that are on my team, whether they're volunteers or they're paid staff, to be able to fully immerse in the community. So I think that'd be fun. But yeah, she could pace. I remember telling her the first time, I think she asked me about what pace these races are run at. And so I think her mind was a little bit blown when I explained to her, yes, the winners, the David Roches, like they are running very fast, but they're a small minority of the finishers. And I think as soon as I explained that pace to her, she was like, oh, like I could pace. Most people could go out and pace someone for a segment of it, right? It's not out of this question. So Ellie might be pacing Cocodona. We'll see.
So yeah, I was going to say that's what we're referencing is the Cocodona 250. Mandy's on the wait list. I want to say you're probably still in the 90s. I don't know. I thought you were 90th on the wait list.
I was 89 last week, but I haven't looked yet.
Okay, in the 80s now. That's good.
Maybe 80s. Yeah. So you're getting there, and gosh, the deal with pacing though, especially like Cocodona, most of the sections are like 15 to 20 miles. So although the pace is slow, it's like a huge commitment. I mean, it's more than a work day. Like you're going to be out there 12 hours. I mean, I just paced 30 miles at Moab 240. I paced 30 and a half miles and it took 16 hours. So you could do the math on that. It was a long time to be out there.
I'm going to have to start training just for pacing.
We know a run coach.
Yeah, but it's not a hard effort. It's just it's probably like a long day on the trail, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Ellie's a hunter. We didn't talk about that.
Okay. But
tell them about your hunting career.
What are you hunting, Ellie?
I have hunted a lot of things. I grew up hunting, was in a little backpack on my dad's back from when I was just a little wee one. So I have really been involved in that basically my entire life. I kind of hunted things on my own. I would always just kind of be there, basically crewing my dad. If you could put it that way. I started hunting like big games. I've hunted elk is one of the main ones that we like to do. My dad and I normally every year we'll go up there. You hike around a while. There's a lot of sitting and waiting because the animals are only out at dawn and dusk. So we take a lot of dirt naps, which I hear is also very relatable to the ultra running community.
Totally.
I'm very familiar with those. And honestly, I could lay there all day.
I'm here for the dirt nap.
I don't even know if I'd get up. If I ran an ultra and I'd lay down for a dirt nap, I would if the sun's out, I'm tanning, I'm there all day. But most recently, I actually haven't really hunted anything this year, but last year I was fortunate enough to get a mountain goat tag, which is very rare. I had a lot of older generation be angry at me because they had been, it's a lottery system. Again. So every year you put in for it.
There are a lot of ultra references, huh?
So I was very fortunate to get in. I had been putting in for that since basically you are able to, which I believe is 12 years old. Dad, if you're listening and I say anything wrong, just look the other way. But I was very, very fortunate in getting that. It is super, super rare. Most people don't even get one in their lifetime. And I was fortunate to get one at the age of 22. So that was, or 23, 22, one of them. And that was really awesome.
Year, how old are you now?
I'm 23.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think of what time of year it was if I was 22 or 23 yet.
I don't even remember 23. Do you remember 23, Brian?
I don't remember 43, actually.
Yeah, so that was really awesome. That was
no, the answer is no.
Where did you go for that?
We went up, it was, where was this? Past Georgetown. I don't know if anyone is familiar with, or if you guys are familiar with Grays and Tories, the 14ers. Mm-hmm. The trailhead that we started at is actually the Grays and Tories trailhead. So you start there.
The Bakerfield exit. The Bakerfield exit.
Yes, yep. We started there, and then instead of going and keeping on the trail and actually hiking the 14ers, we took a hard right straight up the nearest mountain, and it looked over Grays and Torreys. It was actually gorgeous. We were probably only about 1,000 feet under a 14er, so I basically did a 14er that day. We hiked around all day. We took a lot of dirt naps. Exhausting. We went back again the next day. Ended up being up there again just all day. So much hiking. Again, basically 14ers. And is it going? And we were kind of towards the end. The sun was about to set, and we saw a bunch of goats running around. We did that a couple days in a row.
Did you get the mountain goat?
I did end up getting the mountain goat. Yeah, on the last night, the sun was just about to set, and they were in this bowl between a couple mountain ranges. And my dad was like, "Screw it, let's go for it." So we had to hike down, and at one point I was sprinting. So again, there's another correlation. I'm sprinting, I'm crawling, I'm doing all the things. And we finally got one, and I don't know. Mountain goats, I don't know if anyone knows anything about mountain goats, but they are really hard to identify male and female. So, and if you shoot the wrong one, you're a little bit screwed. So that was also very terrifying as the adrenaline is racing and we're sprinting after these goats who can climb mountains like you've never seen before. But we did finally get one, and then we actually had to hike out. We tried to hike out a different way than we came in, thinking it would be closer, and I don't think it was. So we're bushwhacking it in the dark. And then we had to come up the next day. You can actually leave the animal overnight. So we covered it up and then came back the next day basically to get it and harvest it and get the pelt and all of that. So then we came back, we hiked it all out. We probably each had like 40 plus pounds of meat on our back and had to do the hike again. And then we finally made it out, and holy crap, my legs were sore. I was toast.
Yeah, you should be an ultra runner.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about packing your food out. Maybe just in if you're going to go like unsupported. I mean, see right there, we just made it easier.
Yeah, it would have been a lot easier. Oh my gosh. It was like straight uphill.
So how many miles do you think? Did you guys track that at all? Did your dad track?
I only tracked it one day, and I don't even remember. It was a couple miles, but I only tracked it the one day. It was...
Yeah, it's different. I mean, you're not wearing lightweight gear, and you're carrying rifles, and
luckily
like probably more provisions than a handful of gels that we're eating like on the side of the trail.
Yeah, I think our snack of choice really brought like an apple and jerky, and that was kind of our main provisions. But luckily the next day when we went back in to get it, we didn't have our rifles or anything, just because we knew we wouldn't need them. So that definitely helped. We had our walking sticks just because it was so steep. But it was a ton of fun. It was definitely a once in a lifetime hunt, which is super awesome. And then the following week, actually, I went pronghorn hunting just out east, eastern Colorado. And that was the easiest hunt of my life. I was like, holy crap. The difference between hiking basically a 14er and hopping out of the car and calling it a day, it was crazy. I don't know which one I liked more, but they both were equally enjoyable, but for such different reasons.
Do you have like, what am I trying to say? Do you have like I don't even know what they are. I'm not a hunter. I buy my meat at the grocery store. But do you have like the heads of the animals like in display around your house and everything?
Yes.
And like a taxidermy, I guess, like they taxidermy it and then stick it to a thingy. Yeah.
Yes. My parents' house looks like the inside of Bass Pro Shop.
Okay. Yeah. That's
the easiest way to explain it. Yeah. He has a ton of animals. None of mine have made it on the wall. Unfortunately, they're not that good. But yeah, he has not even a mountain goat. No,
you can hang it here in the beef shed.
I'll hang it in the beef shed. Well, I actually made a rug out of that one, so it's like a white furry rug, and then I have the head for that too. But yeah, my dad has crazy things: rams, mountain lion. He has a wolf. Yeah, he's very proud of those.
That's funny. So in Western Colorado, in Grand Junction, which is the nearest big outdoor store, there is Cabela's. And when my kids were much younger, my girls, I used to walk them through Cabela's, and we used to look at all the heads because it was like sort of like a zoo. Like, I mean, of course they're not moving, but I was like, that's something to do. So yeah, I used to walk through Cabela's and show all the kids the heads.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think it's I think it's important for everyone to see, honestly, where they come from, and especially with ones that you actually eat. I mean, there's so many people out there that don't even know where their food comes from. It just appears to them, and brown cows produce chocolate milk, and I think there's a lot of ignorance to stuff like that. So I'm very fortunate to have grown up in a space where that is so prominent, and we do get to do things like that, provide for ourselves.
What is the best steak that you have had, but you've killed yourself? Like what animal, I guess?
Killed myself, definitely. Actually, pronghorn. Pronghorn is delicious. I do love elk. I would say by far, not that I didn't shoot it, my dad did, but buffalo or bison burgers, good. But yeah, for steak, definitely pronghorn. It's really good.
All right.
Yeah, her dad. So I met Cam Haynes after Leadville last year, and knew her dad would be like, "What?" And so it was kind of a funny, like the worlds collide type of thing. Like her dad was like, "That's not fair. I've been following him for way longer. Totally different reasons,
Yeah.
not running." But
My dad was so angry, jealous at Mandy.
Dad.
Yeah, he really was jealous, and he's fangirled over him just because, I don't know, what he does is pretty cool. And my dad's also a really big bow hunter too, on top of just regular rifle hunting. But yeah, that was really interesting connection, because I think earlier in the week or something, my dad had talked about how he's like gotten really into running, and I was like, that's so cool. And then you brought him up, and I was like, wait, that's the same person.
So you mentioned though when you were growing up that your dad was a runner. Is he still a runner now? Does he run the 5Ks ultras with you or anything at all?
My 5K ultras, not as much anymore. He actually grew up on the Western Slope too. He went to Western State in Gunnison and ran up there for a couple years before he transferred. But he's also always just had the love for running, but I don't know if it's necessarily the competitive aspect, kind of just similar to me. We go on runs every once in a while, but he's fallen more in love with biking, I'd say now. He's gotten really into biking. I feel like it's just easier. He's had some calf issues and things like that, so it's just easier on the body.
Road or mountain?
Mountain.
So that corner of the world where you went to school and where your dad went to school, like Western, Alamosa, even Durango, like that whole Adams State, like that whole corner of the world has like produced some of the best cross-country teams in college sports ever. I mean, you think of like Joe Vigil, he had like the only perfect NCAA score in a meet where all 5 of his runners scored first through 5th places, and he just passed away this past summer. And so did Jack Daniels pass away this summer as well. So like 2 legends in the space. But Joe Vigil, Coach Vigil was like Adams State all the way. But like they're all in that same corner of the world. And like it's just a unique spot to be running. And so I'm sure your dad was competitive, but he was also one of like an uber competitive group, right? So like the group was like really stand out. Those eras are phenomenally known. I just read a couple books about those schools back in the day.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, all the crossover there. I just know Adams State is still so good at running. My dad even remembered, so he grew up in Montrose, so he has lived in the state for his whole life, but he remembers running on Fort Lewis's campus against like the Alamosa people who were just insanely good. So I was like, that's crazy. Alamosa still is one of our top competitors. I was going to Fort Lewis at the time, and he still had this like correlation that it still continues to track, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, a lot of history there with running.
Yeah, and I currently coach a guy that rides on the Fort Lewis mountain bike team. Currently. So they're still like in the space and they're still crushing down there. It's insane.
Yeah.
Insanely competitive, but it's good because they like lifting each other up at the same time, right?
There's so much opportunity for trails. Like biking is insane in Durango, and I never got into that, unfortunately. I wish I had a little bit more while I lived there, but my roommate tried to force me to go out a couple times, and I was a little bit too weenie, but I still had fun while I did it. But yeah, there's so much opportunity there. And I think the elevation definitely is what is getting all these athletes in such great shape. For sure.
I was going to ask Ellie, you've obviously done a little bit of running. You've been fully immersed in this running career for a year. I'm going to put you on the spot. Has there been any moment in the last year where things got so crazy or hard or wild or so stressful that you're like, I'm out. This running race directing world is too much. I can't do this. Even if you didn't like almost quit, but more of like what am I doing? This is insane.
I think it's not even That's a good question. I feel like the relays definitely were just more of a shock to me. Again, I had never experienced anything like that. So I think like starting Wild West was the first relay, and that was the first one that I had ever worked, and I kind of didn't really know what to expect, and I had a ton of fun while I was doing it. And honestly, it was less of me being like, what are you doing? And more like my friends and family being like, what are you doing? Why are you staying up for 16 hours, taking a 2-hour nap, and then getting up and doing it again? Like, that just was a foreign concept, I feel like, to a lot of people. And I was like, I don't know. That's a really good question. I just do what I'm told.
Just sleeping in a van wearing a ski suit.
Yeah, like
sleeping for 5 days.
Yeah. So that was definitely, I think towards the beginning of that relay, I was just like, holy crap, I don't know what I am getting myself into here. It's not even like the sleep deprivation or anything like that. Honestly, it's that you don't really have time to eat, and I am a hangry person. That is probably like, it was the moments when I hadn't eaten in several hours that I was like, my gosh, this is not for me. And then I would eat like 3 chips and be like, oh, okay, this is way more fun.
It's all about the snacks.
It's all about the snacks.
You gotta have a cooler of food.
And then we got the snacks down to a T, and we had all of our coolers with miscellaneous items.
I get hangry too, but
something about it, I don't know. It makes me kind of a miserable person, and I don't try to show it, but it really sometimes just was like,
for a snack.
Oh my God, yeah. We're in the middle of the woods. I'm like, when am I going to eat a pine cone?
Yeah, you gotta pack.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, that's a pretty easy fix, though. That's pretty good. I mean, you just have to have more snacks on you. But it would be interesting to see like the Betty White meme of you, how hangry you get when you don't have the snacks.
Is that a Snickers commercial?
It is, yeah. I don't even know that it's anger. I think it's more that her eyes show like, okay, it's 2:00 in the morning, and I know we already marked that section of the course, but I just looked at it and it's not good enough. I need you guys to go back out there. And this is Ellie's face. It's just okay. And I'm like, I promise it's for a good purpose, and you'll be happy tomorrow. But
what's going on?
She gets it out. She's awesome. She's such a tough cookie.
What's going on in my mind is in those moments is like, wow, I'm tired. And then I'm like, I don't want to, but I know there's a point, because you don't just say things to say things. And that was something that my dad always yelled at me for, where I'd be like, why? And he'd be like, I don't, what do you think I'm just saying things because for fun? I'm just talking.
Just trying to torture you.
And like, I obviously know that's not the case. And you're like very experienced in what you do. So I'm like, I know it's right, and I know I'm just in a bad mood. And so I'm just like, obviously I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be like, no, I'm going to bed. I'm going to go sleep while everyone else is working. Like, no. And then it ended up being, the example that she's talking about ended up being so much fun. Shelby and I were just like running through the woods in the darkness with our glow sticks, dropping them. I felt like I was in a little scavenger hunt or something. And the moon was out, and it was around Turquoise Lake, and it was actually so gorgeous too. And it was so fun. And then we ended up meeting up with Mandy towards the end, and we all like took some pictures and just put out more glow sticks. And
yeah,
I think I've been on that particular piece of trail in the dark more than I have been in the light.
Yes, I'm sure you
Turquoise
have.
Lake.
Yeah, that's what's funny. That the relay normally goes on the road, but since I've taken it over and I've run Leadville a couple of times, I'm like, I cannot with good conscience put people out here to run a race and not let them experience of the magic of running on trail around Turquoise with the moon out, and it's beautiful. And so these guys, like by the end of it, they were in such a great mood, and they were like, it's so beautiful out here. It's so fun. And I'm like, see, that's why you did it. We had runners the next day actually come up to us when she was standing next to me to tell us what a great job we did marking the course around Turquoise Lake. And I was like, oh God, I'm so glad you're here to hear. I'm so glad you're standing right here to hear this, to know like there was a reason why. And we did.
It paid off. Yeah.
Impact someone's race experience versus being like, so my mentality with race directing, I am very much not like, that could go wrong, but let's just wait and see. I really try as best I can to get ahead of the situation and train a team that looks at things the same way. Like if we're not going to do things 110% right, we're not going to do them at all. Like we're not in this to make money. We're not in this to be rich and famous. Like we're in this because we want to create awesome experiences. But if you're going to do that, like you have to go the extra mile quite often, no pun intended. And so it's
literally
Literally. Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. And I think like, Ellie is young, and I think, we're seeing this thing in our current social climate where we're losing, and I hope I don't put anybody here, but like we're losing some of this like hard work ethic or the motivation to work hard and really dig deep and go outside of your comfort zone and make a difference. And so it's refreshing for me to get to work with someone that's in this younger generation, but really was raised very, very well, has what it takes, has a tough mentality to honor and respect people that are doing something that maybe they don't even understand fully. Like, so for Ellie to work so hard for an ultra running community or running community, and maybe she doesn't share their same values or drive to do that amount of crazy things, there's still just this level of respect to take care of them and do a good job. So it's been a lot of fun this past year.
Yeah, that's great.
It is definitely rewarding to hear, like, Mandy's like, everyone needs to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, yes, I'm doing it. I'm consider it done. Are we sure about that one? And then she's like, yes. And that's always the one that's like, gets the most comments after. And people come up and are like, this made a very big difference. And it's so awesome to hear that. It is so rewarding, especially being on this end of things, which I would never think about if I wasn't actually in the environment and had seen the other side of it.
Do people mention the moving of the porta potties at all?
No, we keep that one on the DL, except for to you, apparently.
Our Instagram stories.
The Instagram stories, yeah. People actually they should know about the porta potties because we do publish that a lot.
Well, I guess if it's in a bad location, they won't know that it's now in a good location, right? I mean, because they're not using it prior to, so it's not
they notice
trail marking.
They don't necessarily notice when you fixed a mistake.
Fair enough. Ellie, what's next for you? What do you think? I mean, I know Mandy's pushing for the ultra. I kind of see where she's going with it, but on the same note, like, whatever. But, you got to start out small, and you got to start out like with the next logical progression. So you're in this 5K ultra right now. Like, are you going to go to the 10K ultra eventually? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually... Surprisingly, I've never done a 10K. I think that would be the money spot for me. I think I've always wanted to do one. I don't know, the half marathon was a ton of fun, but I don't know. It wasn't like my cup of tea. It was fun. I would probably do another one, but I think just that in between my 5K ultras and my half marathons, I think that would just be the perfect amount where I could still go at like a decent pace and really push myself, but not hate the training. Or that's more my biggest fear, is hating running because the training is so difficult, and not even difficult, but it's very time consuming. And I'm watching.
It requires a lot, yeah, for sure.
Train for this, and there's a lot that goes into it. Not even watching this, but when I was training for my half marathon, I was like, holy crap, it's so hot. It's 90 degrees in the summer, and now I have to run 7 miles. Are you kidding me? And that's big for me. So I think 10K is like just perfect.
Yeah, and it kind of it plays to the fact that you were on the field for like 90 minutes and running up and down, right? And you probably accumulated 6 miles of sprinting up and down a 100-yard field, on the typical game, right? So it kind of aligns with that in that those same muscle fibers that kind of require that a little bit more currently in your day-to-day and in your early 20s, early to mid 20s. But never say never, I guess, is one of the things I've learned in my thousands of years on this planet, is that someday you might step back up to the half and go on to, a full 50K or something along those lines. You never know.
Yeah. No, yeah, I definitely don't have a closed mind at all. I would love to do something more than that. I think if I found one that I really wanted to do and it was in a really cool spot and I could get really excited for it, that's kind of the thing too, is that I need to sign up for it and then I'm locked in and I'm training and I'm dedicated. But without that, I'm just kind of free floating. So once I find one, and if I found one that really spoke to me, I think I would do it.
Stay tuned.
We'll
post about it on Instagram.
More than my 5K ultra.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit about what you do for Run.Windsor and your journey to finding Mandy and helping out our community. We appreciate the both of you bring to the ultra running community with putting on events and supporting athletes in whatever role that might be, even if it's pushing blue water around a parking lot somewhere.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah,
Thanks for coming on.
This was a ton of fun. And I just want everyone to know that you don't have to have a closed mind. I'm a 5K ultra runner and I might run my next ultra a real one.
Yeah,
You can do whatever you want to do, really.
you can for sure. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Ellie.